All right, looks like we have most of our attendees in attendance. So we're going to go ahead and launch the webinar. I will pass it over to Jerry Epstein.
Good morning. Want to welcome everyone. I am Jerry Epstein, CEO of Engage Nation. And with us today, we have our COO, Michael Paulus, and we often refer to him as our data guru, understands data better than anyone else I know, as well as Darren Withers, who is a tremendous level of expertise when it comes to email, SMS, texting, mobile apps, everything that is basically outreach, the way that you would communicate with your players. So we think that you're going to be very interested, excited. We believe that what you see today will be of value to you. So let me just give you a brief little bit of background, and then we'll move into the specifics of what we think is a very innovative platform and how we deliver it when it comes to email. For those of you that are not aware of us, we're an award-winning digital engagement firm. And we've been around for a while, but especially over the course of the last couple of years, we have been recognized as a leader when it comes to digital engagement, specifically in the way that we do it. And we're very proud, as you could see here, of the awards that we have been honored with. And specifically this past year, we won a couple of them for Best Interactive Platform. You could see the International MarTech Breakthrough Award winner. We were the top winners there. And we joined some very prestigious global firms as Salesforce, HubSpot, Apple, Oracle in this very difficult competition. But the key thing that I would like to bring to your attention is that we feel that we have been winners of these awards because of the results that we produce, that we really take a look at converting engagement into profitable property visits. What we have learned over time is that a greater share of digital voice can directly lead to a greater share of wallet and revenue for you. But the reality is that we are in the age of digital clutter, and it's difficult to break through with the digital ads, 74 trillion emails, 121 in our inbox each day, the number of mobile apps that we have to choose from, and then everything that we get on the internet, which is a home entertainment unit and device. So we take a look at the challenge of breaking through, and that's what our scientifically designed marketing tool has done in a very quantifiable way. We call it the Reach platform. It's fun and rewarding. It's quite interactive. And we really use behavioral and economic psychology to get people involved in what we do and to create a higher perceived value for getting an offer, which translates into them coming to the property more often. We do it in a very customizable way. As you can see here, we've been asked by clients to take a look for greater engagement on their social online casino, promotions, slot promos, advertising extensions. But today we're really going to be focusing in on email and data capture and how email can really be used as a tremendous marketing tool. It's come a long way through the years, but I think that you're going to see things that aren't the norm today that could be of great value to you. The way that we do it, we call it our continuous customer engagement experience, that we can deliver the introductory engagement outreach method through a gamified email or just email, generally speaking, a digital ad or social post. And then people play and earn online, and what we have seen is that when we engage them with an activity online, the perceived value is so much greater, which drives an activation. We drive them to the property where it's a measurable ROI, and then the way that we do it with continuous engagement, we then have them repeat the process. We have realized that email is really at the foundation of the success of our program. It initiates the engagement, keeps people involved to the extent that they actually look forward to emails and voluntarily participate in our programs. So we were asked by a number of our clients, is it possible to do a standalone email platform that we can take advantage of. We do the emails for most of our clients within our programs, but now what we're offering is to maintain the database, is to, if needed, actually put together the creative. We can do it, or you or your agencies can do it. But what you're going to see now moving forward is our mindset of how you can turn email into a very robust marketing platform. So with that, I will turn it over to Darren.
Thanks, Jerry. And for everybody joining us today, thank you. Really appreciate the attention and accepting the webinar emails, because I know I send a lot of those, but I just appreciate everybody's opt-in. And that's what it's all about with email, is listening to the people receiving and making sure everybody's getting a good experience. So thank you very much. In this segment of the webinar, I really want to take everybody through what casinos are currently doing. And I talk to clients every day and potential clients who have a myriad of situations. And this comes from also about the last 12 or 13 years of working on casino email programs and text message programs and all things digital, especially the last few years, really fashioning programs with Engage Nation. And so to kick things off, I see this quite a bit. And so let's take you through maybe what casinos should not be doing. And if this is you, I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk bad about you. But I've constantly seen, funny I use the word constantly, constant contact and MailChimp being used by casinos. If you are using one of these two platforms, these are really meant for small business. They are not really meant for enterprises, and especially casinos and gaming and the types of things that we deal with. They actually consider that adult content. So if you are using MailChimp or Constant Contact, I would challenge you to contact their support desk and ask them if they work with casinos, because I've done that myself quite a few times, and they always respond with the same thing: sorry, no, we don't work with casinos. But even still, a few casinos I've seen recently, still to this day, have slipped through and under the radar. But I've also seen them cut off casinos as soon as they see the content or they get too many complaints, and just completely cut off. They're not set up to deal with the issues that can happen with the way that typical casinos collect data, especially if you do any types of appends or anything. They're usually not going to allow that stuff. Their database structures aren't very good for dealing with husbands and wives who share email addresses, so duplicate emails within a single list. But they also don't care, right? That's not their business. They don't have people there that want to integrate with all the systems that casinos utilize, and that's just not their thing. So I like to start that with talking about MailChimp and Constant Contact. If you're using them, I will urge you strongly to take a look at a different solution before they maybe kick you out. So, you know, in talking about that, let's talk about what many casinos are doing. So I would say MailChimp and Constant Contact are not what the majority of casinos are doing. Many casinos I've worked with over the years, especially in my past as a email platform provider, typically want to have a robust email platform that has automation, that you can really manage campaigns and delivery. But in my experience, my clients typically don't want to worry about all of the things that happen in the email ecosystem. If you are interested in that, you know, I would urge you to go to the Yahoo Postmasters page, and you can learn a lot about Yahoo, because they probably control 37% of your ability to get your mail into your customer's inbox. So the typical casino usually wants to work with an enterprise platform provider. A lot of the times, you know, you'll see typical and not typical here on the screen, and you know, things like a CRM or point of sale, property management system if you have a hotel. Those types of systems typically want to be integrated into platforms, but email platforms out there today haven't really specialized for the casino industry. Most of them don't. That's really where we come in. And the ones that do have a higher level of data organization, such as using a business intelligence platform or a customer relationship management platform, or have a full-blown data warehouse, can really work with any system. And that's the beauty. If you are a large enterprise and you've got those nice to haves that I just mentioned, you're going to be able to do really anything. And that truly is how email should be managed. But in majority of cases, what I see is that the email system ends up being a store of customer data. That's where a lot of our player data resides. And it's usually a one-way trip from these other systems. You know, there's not a two-way trip back to the source system like the data warehouse or the casino management system. A lot of that is regulatory, and sometimes it's just the fact that the email platform that you're working with does not care enough and will not make changes or do any development to want to be able to push back, or they just don't want to get licensed. So I see a lot of times, especially in tribal jurisdictions, that the email platform sort of slides through getting certified or getting any type of licensing for these reasons. So that's what many casinos are doing right now, sort of trying to get to that holy grail, but never really getting there because the email platform that they're using or the business they're engaged with just isn't either interested in integrating in the way that will help you, or doesn't have the resources or the certifications or the licenses to do it. And that's a typical setup. You know, what we're doing now is a little bit different. And what I'm going to show you here is what channels matters the most. So knowing what casinos are currently doing with their email programs, I just wanted to use this slide to illustrate that email is foundational. It is so important. And the way I've seen it treated after shopping hundreds of different casinos and going, first thing I do is go to the Players Club. Anybody who's been on my webinars before, you've heard me say this, but it's the most important thing I can do. I go to the Players Club and I sign up for a Players Club card. If I'm going to get to know a customer or a potential customer and want to work with them, I should know about this process, because this is where all things digital starts. It starts with that, getting that person to sign up for the Players Club. And if we're not collecting an email address, or we're not collecting it in a way where we can get an accurate email address, we're dead in the water. And my guesstimate was somewhere around 30% of bad addresses from what I've seen by dissecting customer databases of new data coming in. You'll have Players Club staff who are busy. They want to sign people up for club cards. They want to explain all the benefits. They want to explain to the customer how they can go to the slot machine and get their free play and enter their PIN and all the new stuff that they are doing. That email sometimes falls to the wayside. That's not every property. Some properties have taken a real leadership role and said, hey, you know what, email is very important to us. But even still, when somebody's verbally telling you their email address, you know, I say Darren@DarrenWithers.com or Darren304 Gmail. I say that very fast. And I do that on purpose when I go to do these site visits. And what I typically will get is nobody asking me how to spell it. And I find it almost impossible that they got it right, because everybody likes to throw an H in my last name for some reason. So, you know, knowing that and knowing that there are fat fingering and that people are busy and not asking, there is a huge amount of money left on the table with these email programs just by addressing the data collection piece. If we did nothing else in our programs other than help casinos do a better job of just collecting the accurate email that somebody actually checks, that's another layer, right? Did they give us an email that they actually look at, that they actually go to, that they actually check? So email becomes the basis of all future programs. If you're going to launch a mobile app, but you have a horrible email program, you're probably not going to have great success with your mobile app. If you launch a text message program, same thing. And these folks who open your emails, they're going to be your best targets for launching new digital programs. It's almost impossible to find somebody who doesn't have an email address these days. So email is still tops. I had some clients mention that they make $12,000 every time they send a hotel email. And this was from a client in Las Vegas. So it's very valuable. The ROI is very high. The expense is very low in comparison to other channels. SMS is still, just to mention some of these other digital channels that are pervasive in the casino industry. And I've been doing SMS for a long time. SMS it can be challenging. It's worth doing. I am a big fan of text messaging. But there are legal challenges that some folks are afraid of with the Telephone Consumer Protection Act and potential lawsuits that can happen for not getting a proper opt-in. It's challenging to acquire a cell phone number through a legal opt-in process and somehow attach that to a player ID, although we're making big strides in that. So, you know, if you are interested in that, just feel free to ask questions. But it's still, I'd say about 30%, maybe less, of casinos are really actively engaged with text messaging these days. A lot of it's changing to more service-based messaging, like room ready alerts, or getting being able to chat with a casino host or a guest services agent. So there's been a big shift in texting lately. Mobile apps are becoming more and more pervasive. However, there are some big challenges. I'm also a huge fan of mobile apps. I think every casino should have a mobile app experience for their guests. But it's right now, it currently isn't as big or as important as the email program. That may change in years to come. I thought it would already be here. But mobile apps, I think about maybe 20 to 30% of casinos now have a mobile app of some sort. Typically it's for the players and not a full guest experience. So we're kind of still in that infancy stage with mobile apps, but they're growing as a marketing channel and a player touch point. And it is kind of the holy grail of communication and being able to get things real time. And then funny enough, direct mail, it looks small on the screen and it's a huge portion of most of our budgets today. But the fact that it's become digital is still very small. The United States Postal Service, I get this feature with my mail. So it's very cool. You can actually go sign up for it. It's called Informed Delivery. So Informed Delivery is really, really cool. It basically takes a photo of your mail before it gets to you and alerts you and shows you actual photos of your mail incoming. And for marketers, what you're able to do is you can replace that photo image with a clean, like a PDF or a digital image that has more relevance to the customer and looks better when they go and check to see what's coming in their mailbox. So we've actually made direct mail digital. This is just starting to catch on, and I think direct mail will change as we go on, and it's still going to be something that we use, but as a digital channel, it's still in its infancy. So just wanted to review those channels, but email is still the most important and it's somewhere we're really focused. So right here is where we're walking you guys through. I just wanted to demonstrate the typical email casino acquisition. And this is what it looks like. And the casino employee is purple and our gaming customer is gray. If anybody's gray or purple on your property, you should probably call an ambulance for them. So this isn't meant to be real life, but we'll call our little figure down there who looks like a female, and we'll call her Sally. And Sally's coming into the property and probably sees some on-property signage. Most signage is generic. It doesn't really say much about your email program. Usually says join the Players Club and get this. And so this really demonstrates kind of the lack of preparation that we're giving them. We're not really telling them anything about the program and why they should join and have their email address ready. And Sally gets all the way up to the Players Club desk, says, hello, would you like to join our email program today? And we're lucky actually, and if the Players Club staff says that. Usually it can be, you know, hey, would you like $10 in free play? Join our email program. We just need an email address. There's not a whole lot more said than that. And that's a shame because if we gave people the expectation of what they could receive and how much more value they're going to get and how much they're going to get for their play by giving up their email address, we would probably be getting people coming up to the Players Club wanting to give their email address. So something to think about in terms of how that's communicated by your Players Club staff. And so that little blue circle with the email icon in it, we're following the trail. Now, Sally gave over her email. Hopefully it got in there safe and sound and wasn't mistyped, and goes from the Players Club right into the casino management system. Now, somebody has to extract that in the back office as we kind of follow the arrows through this whole acquisition funnel. I've seen this part of it cause over a 30-day, if not months of delay, where you get busy in the casino marketing department and oops, you know what, shoot, we haven't extracted our new signups in like 2 months. Oh my gosh. So you have Sally over here who's excited, signed up that day, wanted to get offers, and she waited 2 months. So it's not a great user experience for Sally, and she's just wondering where her stuff goes. And then we finally get all of her information into the email platform, and she starts to receive offers. But it comes out of the blue for Sally, and it didn't leave a good taste in her mouth. So we always really want that to be a really good option. Some systems now do offer secure FTP transfer, but somebody's still got to do that extraction. And so it is still, no matter what, a little bit of a manual process for most systems out of the box. And if we are lucky enough to have a secure FTP, we can just drop the file and it goes right into our list in the email platform. That's where some automation can take over. Most systems do have pretty good automation these days. But the problem is, you see when we send that first email, if we are able to set up a triggered message, Sally signs up, or we send it manually, that email is scrubbed at that point that the email is sent. If Sally opens it, we're going to consider that a good address. And great, now the email platform knows that that's a good address. But if it's bad, or like somebody mistyped it, or it's not Sally's address, it's called a hard bounce, and that will immediately go back and be cleansed from the list inside your email platform. That's how most email platforms work. Now, what's the problem here? Well, there is a stopgap right here. The email platform is going to house that bad address, and it could be, it's still a big problem today, is extracting those bad addresses and unsubscribes and syncing that in the casino management system. So we have another big problem, is how do we revalidate? How do we clean that up? And so it becomes a really time-consuming manual process, and it's just not a great scenario for casino marketers who want to get to that next level with their programs. So now what we're going to do is show you this whole program that is supercharged. So what we've done is taken our Reach technology, our Reach platform. And for those of you who aren't familiar, because this graphic doesn't really do a good job of showing you the Reach platform, we've done several webinars on it. We're happy to give you a tour of some of our online promotions so you can see how interactive our games are and our promotions are. But think of that as online engagement. And so what we're demonstrating here is adding that layer of the Reach platform to this, which is fully integrated into our email solution. And what that allows us to do is take away from the Players Club something that's so vital to our email programs. It also allows us to insert games and excitement into areas of the email program that are typically boring and don't really have a great call to action for the customer to do anything. And I'll show you a couple of examples of that. So this is the supercharged casino acquisition model. So Sally now comes into the property, sees the same signage, but when she goes to the Players Club, she's going to sit there for a couple of minutes waiting for the Players Club staff to create her new card. Well, in that process, Sally can be prompted, say, hey, I'm the Players Club manager. I'm going to get your card for you today. By the way, we have this tablet right here. All you got to do is enter your email address into that tablet and a little bit of your information, and you'll be able to play a game today, and you'll be able to earn $10 in free play or some other reward. So then Sally is entertained now while she's waiting for her Players Club card. She's getting excited. She's also giving a valid email address because she knows that that's how she's going to receive the reward at the end of the game. And so we make it very, very simple and very easy for Sally to engage at the Players Club. And instead of that time-consuming process happening where the casino management system then goes to the back office and somebody has to extract, what we've done is at every single point in the process, every way that the email address can be given to the Players Club staff or entered directly into this tablet where a game will be played, it goes right into the Reach email platform. And so what we've done is we've created these gateways that will allow us to connect directly to the casino management system, have that data pushed in near real time. Nobody has to extract any data. And then within minutes, potentially seconds, if we want it to be that quick, somebody can be receiving their first email while they're at the property. And we've already gotten them in the system. So now there's no waiting time, there's no gap. And when we send that first email, and whether that's a valid email or a bad email, we'll be able to tell while that person's still standing there. And so we can create new ways that the customer and the player can engage with email and making sure that we get a good address, because it's always going to be a better address and more accurate when the player enters it themselves. And that's kind of the point of this. So let's talk about another just example of where we lose data. Many of you who do manage email programs at your property, you're going to see a lot of unsubscribes. It's just natural. Sometimes you send too much mail, sometimes the customer's bored with it, which is something we're helping to combat that boredom as well. You're going to hear from Michael in just a few slides to talk about how, some of the results we've seen from our own programs working with clients to up that engagement. And so when customers are unengaged, they tend to opt out. Now, I've done some work with casinos up in Canada as well, where it's even more vital. You can face huge fines, 10,000, hundreds of thousands of dollars in Canada for not adhering to the Canadian anti-spam laws or CASL laws. And so it's very vital up there. And using that use case, If somebody were to come to the Players Club and say, hey, stop sending me emails, you have to honor that up there. But in the world we live in here in the US, we also should adhere to that. If somebody wants to unsubscribe, we should allow them to do that. And a lot of times when you go to the Players Club, it's just not a great place to give those types of requests and have them get fulfilled, because usually the Players Club does not have access to the email system. So one way that we've tackled this type of problem is, A, we don't want to lose customers in the first place. We want them to stay engaged with our email program. And so what we do, and what we have the ability to do, is to, instead of just letting somebody click unsubscribe, we push them to a unsubscribe page. But on that page, we engage them with one of our online promotions and games. And so we're going to flip over to the next slide just to show you how that works. So one of our online games is present when Sally now walks up, and you saw before without that. She's at her home computer on the upper part of this slide, and you know what? We present Sally with a game online and say, hey, Sally, please don't unsubscribe. We'd love to give you another reward if you're willing to stay in our program. And we let Sally play the game. She earns her $10 in free play or whatever the reward is for not leaving, and we take her basically off the page. We don't stop Sally. If Sally really wants to unsubscribe, she could, but you know, she'll have to have a valid email address in order to receive that reward, right? So we give Sally another reason to stay in the program. But if Sally decides to walk into the casino and say, hey, you know what, I don't want to be in this program anymore, we can do the same thing. We can have Sally come up to the Players Club booth. Here's a tablet or touch screen. Hey, you know what, if you're willing to stay with us, Sally, we'd be happy to let you play and earn a reward today. Would that be okay? And so at least there's an option for Sally, and we can reduce the amount of churn that we get in our email program. And maybe even get Sally to update her information and turn her into a happy guest, because if she wants to opt out of the program, maybe she's become disengaged with the casino altogether. And so if we do these things and we can create an experience where Sally wants to stay in, we're going to be doing much better overall with our customer base, but also with our email program. And then what we've done is also to connect that action. And so by doing that on a tablet or a touch screen, that information automatically goes back to the email platform and unsubscribes Sally if she truly wants to get out of the program. And so that we don't have that human error of not getting the information back. And then, you know, we've found ways to be able to work with our clients to be able to get that information out of our Reach email platform and into the casino management system, so everything is synced. Those can come in the form of reports or dropped onto an FTP or whatever the case may be. All right. So right here we have an example of how this might work. So what we're going to do is demonstrate how this goes. So this is somebody on the tablet experience, and this is the type of thing that we're talking about. Somebody would enter their email address while they're waiting for their card. They would enter their email address and Players Club number. I actually entered my first and last name. Let's pretend that's my email address. And then they're going to click register and play. And then what happens? Oh, game pops up, completely branded to the casino, and allows them to click on it. Now I'm doing this live, so you see my thumbprint happening on the screen as well. Hitting the spin button, and there we go. Comes around, and now it could be any number of prizes that we have available. This is more of a retention strategy to try to keep folks in the program or get them to sign up in the first place. Now they're a big winner, and it's got a lot more exciting than somebody who's being rushed through the Players Club line, waiting for their card and then ushering them out and explaining how they get their free play. So it's meant to keep them very entertained, and you know, it's because it's an earned reward and a prize, they're going to be a lot more excited about it, and they're also going to be a lot more apt to want to redeem it that day. You'll also see in the lower portion of this, it says update preferences and unsubscribe. So that's on that same tablet. We can give somebody the ability, if they enter their email address and player ID, and then we can retrieve their information and actually change their status in the system. So this tablet or touchscreen actually allows them to manage their own subscription, and it is all permission based, so we have to allow that. We're going to show you a couple of more examples of this being on floor at the Players Club. But the whole point of this is we could actually make a few more of these touch screens where people can go all over the property. These could be at the front desk. These could be at different areas, the buffet, where people stand in line and are just bored. We want them to constantly come to the property. And this is a big problem in the casino industry. That's why we end up doing a lot of appends and we do have partners that can do appends. It's great, but we should also be trying to get our customers to engage with us on the property and consistently give their email address. Because right now, if somebody doesn't come to the Players Club and sign up, we have a big problem. We never captured their data. And so how do we get that person to give us their email address? Well, we create these experiences all over the property where they can submit that, they can play it, and we can move the needle with that customer and really engage them. So how will it help me? We want to have effective digital engagement programs that measurably acquire new customers like we just showed you. We can reactivate dormant ones, which is what Michael Pallas is going to talk about in just a second. And we can increase active player property trips and spend. And you'll see that in some of the results. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand off the microphone over to Michael.
And just before Michael starts, I'd like to remind everyone that any questions that you might have, we'll answer all of them at the end, that you'll be able to submit them. So, Michael.
Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. So, as Darren was saying with our email and how we do it with our continuous engagement methodology, and Jerry had mentioned that earlier in the presentation, our main goal is driving revenue using these outlets and our technology. So what we're showing here is just saying that making it engaging, make it easy, and the most important thing for everybody around the table is make it profitable. I'm going to take you through a few of the programs that we have done, and really what I want to point out here in this reactivation program is the 54% unique email engagement open rate and the 23% unique click-through rate. Again, we were able to achieve this by using our continuous engagement methodology, that we are retargeting and re-hitting these people over and over the course of these 12-week sprints to try and achieve the business goal of driving back to the property. We saw that it was very effective, our methodology that we use to getting these reactive or dormant players back into the casino. In this particular instance, they hadn't been to the casino in over a year. Next one I'll go through is our retention. This is a program that we are running all year round. Again, I want to point out the 68% email engagement open rate and the 52% click-through rate. This we are able again to achieve through the continuous engagement and retargeting and having automation within our email system to serve up the right message to that player. If they haven't opened in a while, then we'll send them a different email. If they're continuously opening, we're sending them one style of email throughout the program. Over to your right, you'll see an example of one of the emails that we send out, one of our gamified emails. And as I click through this, this is just a quick pick'em game that you can see. It's magic lamps come down. Customer can click on it. It'll play, come up, pop up. That again, they're a winner. You can print it, text it, or email it to yourself once you get that winner from the email. Again, this is another way of capturing data for your customers. And we have also seen, as Darren has pointed out, that we are getting the correct email address from these customers because they like the emails and they're expecting the emails coming to them. We're not getting just garbage email addresses. So the Reach Single Touch journey, we can do this in a multitude of different ways, where you can do it through email, you can do it through text, you can do it through ad and social, you can do it in person, as Darren was showing on the tablet that could be next to your Players Club. But again, this is just another way of what we're showing here. We can also send it to a kiosk after them receiving their reward as well, or offer, or anything to drive them to the casino. These, again, are some of the more examples of some of the emails that we put together. We can do all of the work here. We can do all of the creative. We can send out the email. We can do the creative and send it to you. as well. Or if you have the creative, then you can provide it to us, and we put the email together for you to be able to send out to your customers.
So as we take a look at it, kind of to close it out, and then we'll answer any questions, you know, I think everyone takes a look and has come an incredibly long way with their website, with mobile apps, with email. But we really take a look at digital and the engagement as a fully immersive experience that's not just exclusively about the offer. Just as you're trying to drive people to your property, that they enjoy the experience, what we take a look at is to create an engaging, fun, and rewarding experience that people really like to voluntarily come back to. And the data that Michael just showed you, you know, up to 68% unique engagement and 52% click-through, those numbers are so high because as we retarget them, people start to understand, and there's viral around this, to open it, to have fun, and it can be rewarding. And the key is here not in volume, in driving, you know, quality of or quantity of emails. It's the quality of the engagement that really takes it above and beyond specifically just the offer. And again, I think especially over the course of the last couple of years, as we have really elevated our platform to a significant degree, you can see, you know, our clients are very happy with us. As Michael pointed out, we can do all the work. We like to come back and give you ideas, concepts of how you can take marketing to the next level when it comes to the digital engagement, specifically about what we're talking today. Just want to say that we will be at G2E, booth 1623, so if you'd like to learn more about and see our system, we would encourage you to come over. And then also, Michael will be moderating a panel, you can see with Brian, Craig, and Tony, on mobile first player and guest experience, transforming the operations of a casino resort. So I think hopefully you have gotten the understanding that we are very well steeped in all aspects of digital engagement and trying to get people to really buy into, if you will, our email, texting, we integrate into mobile apps, and how effective we can be. So with that, number one, I will say thank you. We'll answer any questions, and also just to let you know that we will then go back and put everyone who was a participant today into our list, and we will randomly pick out someone who will be selected for a free campaign that we will put on for a month for you. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Darren.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. And just to wrap up a couple of other points before we get into questions, since we have a pretty decent amount of time. You know, the engagement piece is so important, and I've worked with a lot of casinos who don't have a resort or a hotel, and it becomes even more difficult to create that content and that energy within your email program. And they typically will see pretty solid open rates, but it's going to be related to you know, your standard free plays, or here's your points update, or here's your tier status, and here's what's going on at the property for the month. What in integrating the Reach platform does, and having us manage everything, is allows us to not just manage engagement with these promotions, but it ups the overall engagement. When you start to see 30% plus open rates for your emails, that's massive, and really that's well above average. We see as high as you saw in here, above in the 54% range. What that does is really gets your player base who is engaged with your email program constantly looking for your emails. They're ready to click on them. They're ready to go somewhere. So it gives them an appetite for opening your emails, and it exponentially increases those open rates so that when you do send those offers, they do respond to them much more readily. And how we're automating these pieces of the email program that have never been automated before. I know my clients in the past have had a lot of hours tied up in extracting data from the casino management system, loading that data in the format that's properly, properly for the email platform, and then trying to get data extracted from the email platform and move that over into the casino management system, and then, testing, for instance. I mean, there's so many things where we've really tied up those processes, and either we manage them for you, or we have an integration existing that will allow that to happen automatically. And that's the holy grail, because if we can automate these things, we can reduce staff time. Even the things at the Players Club, let's take, hey, we're the marketing department, and a lot of times we don't have control over the Players Club. And so by taking the data collection out of the customer's hands, we are able to control that process a little bit more, and we can be accountable to something that we can control, right? There's nothing worse than being held accountable for something you don't have complete control of. And by inserting these touchscreens in games, we can really do that. And just to mention too, we have all sorts of different levels. We're currently offering this to clients out in the marketplace, and we are currently doing this with customers, managing their full entire email program and not just our promotions. So we have an email basic program where somebody can be self-managed. It's a great starter program, and we want to use that as an opportunity to grow with the customer. So if it's a matter of just taking over what you have today, we have the best email platform in the world, basically. And you can come to us and check us out, and we'll be happy to demo it for you. One of the great features of it is it does allow you to do a true audit of your emails, so you can see every individual email of every person you're sending to when you're populating things like offer amounts and dollars, and things that could get us into real trouble. So it's a great platform. We'd love to show it to you, and that's our email basic. Then we have our email managed service, so that allows us to really hold your hand and manage your entire email program. We do give you a taste of our gamification through the Reach platform as well in that, but it's not a full-blown program. And then we have our Reach Email Plus, which is just everything that we have to offer. We want to make sure there's gamification included. We include our Reach platform, and it allows you to do exactly what we showed you today, which is to automate and add digital ways and means where our customers can engage on the floor, online, in every facet of the casino, to be able to give us better hygiene for our database, re-enter their information, validate their own information through playing games, and also engage at a much higher level. And so I just wanted to take a moment to mention those different programs that we have. But we have casino professionals, and that's something that makes us a little bit different than your typical email provider as well. We understand it. We have people who have worked in operations within the casino, and so you don't have to explain anything. We can actually work with all of your databases and understand what you're trying to accomplish. And as you saw in our reporting goes well beyond the typical email reporting. We want to make sure our customers are making money and driving revenue, and that we're hitting all of those goals. And that's just something you don't get with typical email providers, especially if you're with Constant Contact or MailChimp. Please give us a call after this or shoot me an email. So we're going to take a few questions. I appreciate everybody listening to that little rant for a couple of minutes, but just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of the point of this today, is to really expose what we're doing for clients and how we can be, if you don't really care about your email provider, or you have a bad one that's not servicing your needs, let us show you what we can do. So there are a few great questions on here, and I'm probably going to flip a couple of these over to Jerry and Michael. But let's go with the first one. Can your platforms be based on long-term, short-term promos, or we design and run on the floor? I'll flip that over to Jerry.
The answer is absolutely. We are working with a number of properties actually right now that we are doing 1-month programs. And the way that we configure it is that we will go out to people, and we are very mindful of how often we hit them and what we hit them with. Again, it is not just sending out 50 emails hoping to open one of them, but we very strategically put together a campaign which could promote an individual on-property event, promotion, concert. It could be anything. And we see, again, if people have opened, if they've clicked through, if they've engaged. And those people who did, we then put them into the We Won column, and then we go back out and retarget those, just like you would do with retargeting any of your advertising and digital ads. So that's pretty much the basis of our program. And yes, we really like to take individual events, promotions, and put a theme behind them, and then reach out with our program and our system.
Great, thanks, Jerry. Next question is, how difficult are these platforms to use for players in their 80s and 90s, et cetera?
We see that they catch on pretty easy. We have one property that we work with that their demographic is definitely of the older end of the spectrum. We do a really good job of explaining and directions on screen of what to do. But nowadays that most of them are picking it up easy. If we get emails or anything on service requests, we do a great job of really explaining to them how to use it via email, or our guys will hop on the phone with that customer and walk them through the issue that they're having. But overall, they all catch on pretty quickly, and we're seeing it with some of our programs right now that the demographic is older and they're really enjoying it.
It's really interesting because we've had that question come up all through the years, and you know, the last group of adopters were the oldest generation. And now, and I can tell you, one of our beta testers is my mom. She's 90 years old. We are very sensitive to what we offer them. So we're probably not, well, not probably, we will not offer a high skill game that can, you know, cause an epileptic fit or something like that if it goes too quickly. But we're very much in tune with the demographics and what they're capable of doing and delivering activities that are in line with what they can really do technologically.
Oh, great. Yeah, I mean, it's for, you know, things are meant to get easier, right, with the way our games are and now being mobile. I always say if a player can figure out 100 pay lines in a penny slot machine, they can probably figure out how to play a simple game. So next question, just in moving this along, tell us, how can you tell if your reactivation programs lead to sustainable reactivation, not just players coming in for an offer and then never returning?
Well, one is that what we like to do is after we run a reactivation program, and typically our reactivation programs run for 12 weeks or 90 days, we like to have the customer then that we're doing the program for work with us to see how many visits in the next 90 days that they get from that customer in the reactivation. You know, quite frankly, it's a little bit difficult for us to know that because we're not at the property seeing these customers to come in, but we like to work very closely with the client of ours to ensure that afterwards the lifetime value of that customer becomes profitable for our client.
And that's one of the reasons why we extended out to a 12-week engagement program. What we really work with our clients on is that we not only get a single visit, number one, but number two is that we try and get them back there through the course of the promotion, and we do monitor that to get them back into the active stream. One of the really fascinating aspects of that program is we did a deep dive on the data with one property, and people brought in a reward voucher, some type of offer, and there were, I think, about 3,500 of them. But we then took a look at the database that there were another 8,000 people who engaged with the program that actually never took an offer in, but went into the property. So that's where we really understand that if you are able to break through digitally, capture more mind share, that there is a greater likelihood they will come out to your property. So in that particular case, we had 8,000 people. It didn't even cost the property any type of free offer to get them in there. So it's not just about, again, the offer. It's about the fully immersive experience in driving.
Thanks, Jerry. So we're going to do one final question, and that question is, can the guest experience the platform on any device? I assume we're talking about mobile, tablets, laptop, everything. So Jerry and Michael, I'll kick that over to you.
Yes, they can experience it on any device that they want. They can play any game. We develop everything mobile first so that it will work on a mobile device first. Then it works onto, then it can be retrofitted back to a computer. So we are very mindful of that. We understand that a phone has now become the computer in this day and age, and everybody interacting with their phone or their tablet. So yes, it can work on any device that you have.
And we're very mindful of it because we really take a look and monitor all the data. And generally speaking now, we've got, even with the, again, aging demographics of many of the groups that we deal with, we're seeing about 70% of people accessing our application via their mobile device. So we understand it very well.
Yeah, and we've got also some, we're offering the Reach platform and the games and promotions on mobile devices through some of the better vendors in the casino industry that are creating mobile apps for casinos. So you should, we can't talk about them directly, but if you want to see some of that in action, maybe stop by our booth at G2E, booth 1623, because we'd love to talk to you about it. I know today we covered a lot about email, but we're taking these programs and integrating them with mobile and mobile apps in the casino industry. We're also integrating SMS, and so there's a lot more channels to be had. However, we really wanted to show how we're helping clients really change, and I'm sure everybody on this call today really wants to save time and is done with doing tedious things or not having integrations work from other vendors. It's something that we have a lot of experience with and have a lot of folks on our team who are on the operator side and really understand, and our partners are great. So with that, I think we should go ahead and give everybody about 7 minutes back. And Jerry, I'll let you say goodbye to everybody, but I just want to say thanks.
We just want to thank everyone for their time and attention today. We are extremely excited about this new spin-off product and service that we have. We'd love to answer any more questions, and please feel free to reach out to us. We're here for you, and we hope we get the opportunity to interact with you again. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.